Hello and welcome back. I'm excited to talk about relief sculptures, and we're going to be creating our own relief clay project using some different techniques like adding and subtracting, and you can hang this as a plaque on the wall. What is a relief sculpture? What is a relief? A relief is a type of artwork that you can carve into or add to. So there's low relief sculpture, high relief sculpture. Take a look at some of these relief sculptures from the past. What do you notice when you look at this? There's low reliefs where you carve into it like this. You can tell that they had a flat block and they carved into it to create the sculpture. This is a high relief. You can see from the side that they really carved a lot. Now, a sculpture is different than a relief sculpture because it's freestanding. You can walk all around it. This is a sculpture that is three-dimensional, whereas a relief is carved into or added on. You add material on it, or you remove material and create a high relief. So in our project, we're going to be adding elements to the base and creating our relief. You can see these different pieces of clay that I've added to this plaque relief sculpture. I used this guide on how to draw a desert, different environments in the desert, and even the woods if you wanted to do northern Arizona, just some different environments inspired by where I live. So I looked at this guide and I sketched out some ideas, and I decided to do a desert landscape. So first you're going to start with a ball of clay, and it should be basketball round. Then I'm going to use my fist to pound it into a cookie thick piece of clay. Cookie thickness. I don't want it too thin. I don't want it like a thin crust pizza. It should be thick so I can build and add on to it. It needs to be strong enough to hold the extra clay that I'm going to add. Smooth out all the cracks with a clay tool and some water. And then I'm going to take some other pieces of clay to start adding the background, the environment. I see the mountains here. So I'm going to start with a ball of clay again, roll this basketball round, and then I'm going to flatten it a little bit. But when you roll it all in one piece, basketball round, it condenses the clay and it's a nice solid piece you can work with. I want to add a new texture, so I'm going to use this cardboard and pound my clay onto this cardboard so that the texture gets imprinted on the clay. Here you can see my texture. I'm going to use this clay tool to cut this in half. It's a popsicle stick with a paper clip attached to it. So I can draw into the clay. And I'm going to create some mountains for my background. How am I going to attach this? I'm going to scratch it to attach it. You have to scratch it and rough up the surface. Too smooth surfaces do not stick on. Blend it, and this is sort of like gluing it on and guaranteeing it's not going to fall off. I'm going to look at my drawing and start adding other features. So I made this cactus using a coil. So when you roll a coil, you can roll it between two hands or you can roll it on the table. Just make sure it's not too thin. It should be pinky thickness. Pinky thick. If it's too thin, it's gonna fall apart. And what do you do when you need to attach something? Don't forget to scratch and attach, because if you just put it on without scratching and attaching, it's gonna fall off. You see how everything's blended here together and it didn't fall off? Do the wiggle test so you know that everything will stay on. Scratch and attach, blend for glue. Enjoy creating your relief sculpture.